Hello friends! So remember a couple of months ago when that Madison Vogue video was so popular? Well, I'm aware that I am a couple months late, but in today's video, I wanted to recreate Madison's guide to soap brows and easy blush, but with a bit of a plot twist. I'm going to be recreating that look, but make it budget-friendly and somewhat locally available. So if you would like to see how I got this little makeup look, then go ahead and keep on watching.
First step of my makeup routine, which this is a very, very new thing I've initiated into my makeup. This amazing trend of soap brows, which whoever came up with that is genius. It's literally a block of soap. Take a spoolie brush and you really get soap in there. Just brush through your eyebrows.
To begin with, we have some soap brows. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really a big fan of soap brow type products because personally, I have yet to find one that works for my very stubborn brows. So instead, this is what I use. This is the Got To Be Glued Spiking Glue. This stuff works really great if you're like me and you have very stubborn brows. Take a little bit on your spoolie and then brush it through your eyebrows. Now what's nice about this stuff is I feel like in comparison to soap brows, this is just so much easier to use. Just clean off the perimeters of your brows because it might look a bit crusty. But if we're talking a product that really keeps my brows up and bushy throughout the day, this is the stuff that really works for me. As you can see, it pretty much gives the same effect as soap brows, except this one is so much easier and so much faster to do, so get yourself some Got To Be Glued.
I don't really use foundation technically, it's a skin tint is what it's called.
So the next step is some skin tint. Now for this step, Madison used the Glossier skin tint, but for me, I'm gonna be using the Issy&Co active skin tint. This is really good for just evening out the skin and giving your face a very nice, perfected and healthy appearance. So I'm using mine in the shade Beech, and for my application, rather than using a sponge, I will be using a brush because I have found that with skin tints, it's best to use a brush because it really does help to maximize the benefits of a skin tint, whereas a sponge tends to soak up the product.
Okay, so next up is the Lord and Savior of concealers, which is the Nars Creamy Concealer. I've been using these forever.
I'm gonna have to agree with Madison. The Nars Radiant Creamy is definitely the savior and lord of all concealers. I love this stuff, but of course it is very expensive. So my alternative is, this is the TheSaem Perfect Tip Concealer. This is so good, but in terms of formulation, they're both very different from each other. Where Nars Radiant Creamy is more of a natural creamy formula, the TheSaem Perfect Tip has more of a liquidy, semi-matte finish, but in terms of coverage and longevity, this is really gonna give you all of that. The only thing though is the shade range is very limited, but if you can find one that suits your skin, kahit pang under eye lang, I definitely suggest checking it out. Now with this concealer, all you need is a little bit. You don't need to go overboard. Just conceal where you need the product and then blend it immediately, especially under the eyes, because sometimes I notice that when I let it sit too long under my eyes, it ends up looking a bit dry.
I go in with the Charlotte Tilbury, I think they're called glow sticks, contour wands. I use it very sparingly because a little goes a long way.
I don't know if it's just me, but if you look closely at the product that Madison is using, that's the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, I noticed that it looks more warm than it does cool. For this step, I'm using her. This is the Jordyn color tint from Colourette. And not gonna lie, prior to this video, I never tried this out for contour or bronzer because I thought it would disrupt my base. But honestly, this is the most perfect warm brown that just works great on Filipino skin tones. I love this stuff. Now, if you're gonna use this, there is a little bit of a trick to it. When you apply it, blend it out immediately. Don't apply it where you want and then blend. Work in areas because since this is more of a matte formulation, I noticed na when I wait for it to dry down, or when I let it sit just on my skin, it kind of leaves behind a mark of where I put down the product, which makes it so that it takes longer for me to blend. And sometimes napapansin ko na disrupt niya yung base ko.
My favorite product in makeup, period, is blush. This is my favorite blush ever. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Blush. I put a lot of this stuff on, and
I feel like if you could summarize these Vogue videos, it would be like expensive skincare and Charlotte Tilbury, and rightfully so. Charlotte Tilbury has excellent formulas. But for this step, I'm gonna be using another color tint. This is in the shade Maddie. Now what's nice about this is, although I don't think it's the exact color that Madison used, it's a really nice pink that I feel like screams easy blush. Plus, it's from the fresh variant of color tint, so we're gonna be able to maintain that same freshness that Madison has. I'm gonna be using a lot of this stuff like Madison did. So this is what Maddie looks like. Isn't it such a pretty, very blooming kind of pink? I love this. This is your sign to try out Maddie if you don't have her yet in your Colourette collection.
so now I'm gonna go in with powder. Weird order of operations is about to go down, just warning everybody. This is the Charlotte Tilbury powder, and I'm gonna just try to make that guy as chilled out as possible.
For the powder, she used the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. That is a mouthful. I don't really have an exact dupe or alternative to that. I've tried that powder previously. It's definitely worth the hype. It's a very natural, very airbrushed looking powder. It's too expensive though, so if you're looking for something that's also as good, not a dupe, but also pretty good, the Essence Brighten Up powder is what I'm gonna be using today. In comparison to Charlotte Tilbury, this isn't as natural looking, but we don't have money to cash out on Charlotte Tilbury, so this is the closest thing. You'll see, okay? Look, I will powder under my eyes, and since it is a brightening powder, it's gonna brighten up our under eyes a little bit. As you can see, powdered, not powdered, it's not super powdery looking. When you use this powder, you don't need to like swirl, just pat, tap. That way, you're not gonna go overboard with powder and you're not gonna look super Espasol-esque.
So now I'm moving on to my bronzer, and I'm using the one and only Fenty Beauty, my queen, Rihanna's bronzer. And you can see how filthy this is. I would use it all the time. And I'm just gonna go in lightly. This is in the shade Private Island.
I would like to introduce Vice Cosmetics Porshur Aura Contour. Now in comparison to Private Island from Fenty, this definitely has a bit more red running through it, but once it's on the skin, it's gonna give it a really nice warmth.
I'll just do a tiny, tiny bit on either side of my nose, and I will look very awkward and concentrated while I do so.
For nose contour, I am using that same bronzer we used. Not gonna lie, I'm not that great at nose contouring, so manage your expectations, folks.
Keeping it in the family, we're gonna go in with the Fenty Beauty blush, which is in Ginger Binge and Moscow Mule. And you can never have too much blush in my world, so I just throw it on and I just make it as obnoxiously blushy as possible without looking too crazy.
Also keeping it in the same family, this is the Vice Cosmetics Aura Duo in the shade Superstar. It probably doesn't look the same as Ginger Binge and probably isn't the same as Ginger Binge, but we're just trying to go for a similar look here. Now if you're gonna do this, this is how you do it. Swirl into the pink once you see it on the brush, tap into the highlight, back into the pink, a little bit of highlight, pink, and then apply.
So the next step is my beloved Morphe Madison Beer palette.
This is what I'm gonna be using. This is the Vice Cosmetics BT21 Universe eyeshadow palette. I don't know if you can see it too, but I feel like they look similar. A lot of the shades that are here are already in Madison's palette, and a lot of the shades that Madison used in this video are already all here. What's great about this palette is it's great for every day if you like warm colors. You can go from day, you can go to night, and you even have some fun little shimmers in here. So if you're looking for a good neutral warm eyeshadow palette for every day, this is one I would recommend.
So I'm gonna go in with a lighter shade, and
I'm gonna start by tapping into this light white cream shade.
So I'm using this shade in my palette, and I'm gonna use a little bit of this one as well, and I'm just mixing the two, and I'm going just into the crease of my eyes right here.
I'm now dipping into these two right here for our crease color.
So I've been using this MAC 224 brush since I was in 6th grade. I'm not joking. I think this brush has literally been with me for 10 years.
Obviously, MAC is super expensive, so if you want an alternative to that, this is the Gladking number 5 brush. I've been using this for years as well. This is a really good brush to use if you're just gonna be blending color on your crease, or if you're even doing creative looks and you want this all over blending brush.
This is the best eyeshadow color in the world, so I use this brush for my inner corner.
So for the inner corner and eyeliner, I'm gonna tap into this dark brown right here.
What I do is I'll look and I will imagine if I had a really long eyelash coming out from here, like where would it sit and what would it look like? And so I see like a line in my head.
If you're gonna follow what Madison did in that she imagined a really long eyelash, I suggest curling your lashes first, but I'm just using that same color for this step.
The next step is my highlighter, my cream highlighter, which is the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter wand, and I just do like 2 little dots right there. I double up on highlighter a little bit. I really like this Glossier one. It's called Play, I think.
Up next is highlighter. Madison used 2 highlighters. She used the Charlotte Tilbury one and a Glossier one. But for this, I'm only gonna be using 1, but I have 2 recommendations for you. So I have here 2 shades of Colorette's Shimmertint, and each of them are just a different vibe. If you want something more pink to tie in the blush together, you can use the shade Crystal Prism. Whereas if you want something more yellow, golden, candlelit, Yellow Diamond is a nice one as well. For me, I'm gonna be using Crystal Prism because I want to tie in the pinks together.
I'm going to go in with my mascara. It's called the Lash Slick by Glossier, and it makes my eyelashes look like eyelash extensions. It just fills them out so much.
If you also want to get lash extension like lashes, Fashion 21 Double Up Mascara is a good one. Plus, I feel like if we compare it to the wand of Glossier, it's fairly similar. The only thing is the tip of the Glossier one is a bit thicker. If you're on the hunt for a good mascara that really just fans out your lashes and makes them look unrealistically beautiful, this is a good one. The proof is in the pudding. This mascara is so good. It just fans out my lashes, makes them look like extensions. And what's also great about this, if you do check it out, is I find that in comparison to other mascara, this holds up extremely well despite my oily eyelids.
So anyways, now I move on to my highlighter, and I use this color right here. And so I throw this into the inner corner. I don't do it too much, just a little bit.
So going back into the palette, I will be tapping into this color right here for our inner corner highlighter.
This is my favorite lip liner because it matches my lip tone and I can get away with overlining my lips a lot and it doesn't really show.
So for lip liner, if you're looking for one that also matches your lips, but you know, a little bit better. So this is EverBilena's lip liner in the shade Mirrored Mocha, and you will see just how perfect of a match this is to my lips. Charan! Very my lips but better.
This lip gloss I found from TikTok. This is the Ulta Beauty Juice Infused Lip Oil.
So for this step, I have the BLK WonderMelon Lip Oil. It probably looks scary because it's like bright red in the tube, but once it's on your lips, it's just gonna give a very subtle hint of pink that is ultra glossy.
And the last thing that I do, and this is if I'm feeling real fancy, give myself a spray of the same stuff I used at the beginning a light spray.
So last but not the least, for the spray, I am using the Fresh Formula Glow Boost Fix and Illuminating Facial Mist.
But my finishing touch, final step of my makeup daily routine is my hoops.
I don't really have hoops like Madison, but I do have these. So this is our final look, hoops and all. What do we think of this makeup look? What do we think? Personally, I love it. This is already so similar to a makeup look that I do whenever I feel like adding a little bit of something to my face. I feel like out of everything, I love the blush the most. Like, I don't normally blush my face up like this, but it looks so good. Like, it's so fresh and blooming. So anyways, that is gonna be it for this video. Let me know if you want to see more of these. If you want me to do a specific person, let me know. That is gonna be it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Peace out, Girl Scouts. See you later.